Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
What's on Tap podcast is back again for another week of fun and merriment.
As
always, bring the fun.
Already promising merriment.
Well, the merriment is extra this week.
Oh,
we always had the fun, but the merriment it's like a little icing on the
merriment.
A little rose on the cupcake, you know.
The merriment is just for our premium subscribers.
Exactly. You normally got to pay for this kind of entertainment, but we're giving it to you for free today as an enticement for what could be if we ever decided to do a Patreon.
Well, speaking of free, this episode is free for me because you brought both the beers.
Did. So Tuol has released Goliat for 2024, or I guess it's 2023. It came out to Sweden in 2024, and it is a imperial stout with coffee is the base. It comes in at 10.5%. And then we also have a variant called Goliat Imperial Coffee Stout, aged 15 months in cognac barrels and bottled in 2023. So that's a really long name. And it is 12.9%.
Nice.
We haven't done a Tuol back-to-back episode in a while.
No, that's true.
Honestly, I don't know. They just haven't been putting out a lot of stuff in Sweden recently.
No, they have their regulars that are always available. It's basically the hashtag Deepa and Whirlpool domination. House of Pale you can find anywhere, and Whirl domination.
World domination, yeah. Those three are, and I think there's a couple of sours that they have, low ABV sours.
Probably, and there's some kind of volcano-esque stout.
Yeah. I didn't care for that one.
No, it's not my favorite. So
it's a milk stout, I believe.
Yeah,
something like that.
So they're around, but we used to get more of their specials before.
Right, we used to get kind of a regular release cycle from them, and to be honest, I haven't really heard much from Tuol in the past year or so. When I think about Danish breweries, rarely do they enter the conversation these days. They used to be like the forefront of Danish brewing, but I mean, when was the last time they had a big release? It seems like all of their energy is just going into Bruce and their the brewery there, and they're not really as focused on mass production as they used to be, even though they're still cranking out stuff out of Tuol City. I just doesn't feel like we're seeing as much as we used to.
No, that's probably true.
They had a wild ale label for a while. I haven't seen that in a minute.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
But we have these two stouts. Goliath is a popular name, like in media and products. Goliath is something big.
Right, but this isn't Goliath.
It's Goliat.
Goliat.
That's how. That's how Swedes and Danish would say.
Goliath.
So David in the Bible, he defeated Goliat. David and Goliat.
And this is why Swedes and Danes are going to hell.
But no one ever makes David beers.
Nobody wants David beers.
Everyone wants Goliath.
Exactly.
But you said Goliath when you introduced them.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, correctly. It does. We're on the non-barrel aged now, right?
So I think we should smell them both together and
There's
see if we
a
can
lot of coffee in the one.
This is one of the strongest coffee beers I've ever smelled. Like, if you don't like coffee, you do not want this beer. This is a straight up not a beer for you.
The one aged in cognac and it's just cognac barrels.
Mm-hmm.
The one aged in cognac barrels smells much better. It smells less of coffee.
It does smell less of coffee. You definitely get the barrel aging notes, almost like a little bit of it's going to sound weird, a little cheesiness to it. Yeah. It's like a little umami kind of nose to it.
But the
which is probably the cognac blending with the strong coffee flavors, giving this weird umami kind of essence.
I think so. But the regular one almost goes into green bell pepper territory.
Yeah, it's so strong. But yeah, I mean, we poured these up. There's still some nice lacing on the glass. There's some good carbonation in here. It reforms the head if you agitate it slightly. Yep. So that's very promising. Some good lacing on the side of the glass, which you don't see from kind of high ABV stouts anymore. So cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, that's a lot of coffee.
Real light mouthfeel. It's a strong beer, man. It is. Don't take your breath away a little bit.
Yeah. Aftertaste is heavy on coffee, but like cold coffee that has been standing out.
Yeah, like it's a little too much. Like there's a little too much beans are added to this.
Yeah.
Because it goes into that coffee sump kind of just grind kind of flavor. Almost tannic. Give a little bit of a sour flavor in the finish.
Yeah,
it's so strong.
People keep saying that tannic coffee flavor is sour, and I don't get it the same way. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I just don't feel this as sour.
Yeah.
But I want to wait with the rating until we've tried.
Oh yeah, we're gonna try both. I will say it does have an alcohol nose to it, but it doesn't like. On like having a second sip, at first it's a little kind of like grabs you, but drinking more, it rounds out, and while it's still present, it doesn't kind of like take your breath away, choke you a little bit sometimes, like you get with really boozy kind of beers. The mouthfeel's pretty thin. It's almost like a milk stout kind of in that way. But I will say on first taste, I did not care for it.
No.
But on subsequent tastes, it's growing on me. I'm enjoying it a lot more. The lingering coffee flavor really is quite nice. But again, if you do not like coffee beers, you do not want this.
I do like coffee beers, but it's pretty rough.
It's a bit overwhelming. All right, so
this second one smells
a lot better.
A lot better.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
What do you think? Yeah, this one's a lot more alcohol heat to it than the first one.
I took a big gulp and swirled it around. Yeah, it is boozier. It is stronger as well, right? Mm-hmm. But it's also better. I don't mind a little bit of heat as long as there's some nice barrel flavor. The coffee is way subdued on this one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a balanced thing that as soon as we introduce more flavors, the coffee can't take up all the space.
True. I think the mileage on these will really vary on the consumer because they're two, I would call, fairly aggressive beers in their flavor profiles. Both have a lot of alcohol heat to them, but it actually kind of works in favor of the beer as opposed to being a detriment. And this is cellar worthy, and so it says so on the label, although I don't know why you would want to cellar it, because I don't see how cellaring it would make it better in any way.
I mean, maybe the coffee could round out and disappear a little bit.
Yeah. I guess you would lose some of the coffee edge if you let it sit for like a year or two.
But that's the reason why you shouldn't age like coffee beers, because that's the selling point.
Yeah.
If you didn't want the beer with coffee flavor, you should cellar something else.
Well, I think it's interesting they released one in a can and one in a bottle. And it's like, if you're on the go and you need an imperial coffee stout, you need to eat some coffee, and like, I didn't have time to get coffee this morning. Thank God I have an imperial coffee stout to take with me into the office.
Oof. No, but maybe they don't want you to cellar the regular one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cellaring a can versus a bottle is two very different things, and the outcome isn't quite the same. You don't lose as much in, I think, the flavor profile whenever you use a can as over a bottle. What do you think about these two?
Now, trying them side by side, they are kind of night and day. Mm-hmm. It's not doing the original any favors being compared to the barrel-aged one, I think. I think the barrel aged one is it's like a solid 4 or even slightly higher. Not really 4.25, but it's a strong 4. But that means that the non-barrel aged one can't get more than 3.75.
Yeah.
Maybe even as low as 3.5, but I don't want to give it that. I'll give it 3.75 and not drink the rest of the can. That's kind of where I am.
Well, what's interesting about this is if you try these side by side, they literally taste almost nothing alike.
Right.
So it really shows you what the difference barrel aging can do to a beer. Whereas the Goliat, like you said, it's almost green bell pepper, so much just dark roast coffee, almost like drinking coffee grounds. And then the Goliat is more rounded. It's got more of a punch to it with the Cognac barrels. And it just has a little bit more of a rounded note to it. And that bitter edge that you have on the regular version is just not there. But yeah, I'm right with you. 375 for, I think they're both really good. It's a fun kind of duality to try and experiment with. So yeah, I'm really glad we get to try these on the show.
But I'm not finding any best before dates on the bottle. The can has them thoroughly printed out. It's basically 1 year of best before on the canned coffee stout. But the bottle, it says cellar worthy, but then there are no. It's probably printed in black on the dark brown bottle.
Sometimes they put something on the neck or the.
And that's always hopeless.
Yeah, to where you can never really see it. You have to have the right light. It's like those stupid Westverlatina.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
But it is interesting that the bottle apparently is cellar worthy, and the can just has 1 year expiration date. Period.
And that can will actually last for forever. I mean, that'll still be good in probably 5 years.
It won't be damaging to your health, but it will have lost its flavor or even developed some off flavors.
I'd be surprised if it did. Honestly, there's so much there that I think it's going to take like 3 years minimum just to calm down, probably. But yeah, so these are fun. I hope we see more to oil on the shelves. I really like them, and I've kind of missed trying some of their more fun, wild ideas that they used to come out with.
I miss their barley wines. Mine is bigger than yours.
Yeah.
My honey cake is bigger than yours, and stuff like that.
I miss their Mr. Blue and Mrs. Blue series. I thought those were pretty good. Where they, well, it was a fun experiment. Maybe not all 7 or whatever, how many of them worked out every time, but at least you got like 3 out of, at least half of them are going to be pretty good.
They were fun for our podcast type situation, but I don't particularly miss the beers themselves.
Well, I couldn't tell you anyone individual, but I like, I'm a sucker for a series.
Yes.
And so if they're going to put out an annual series, I'm like going to buy it every time, A little disappointed we didn't do the Morslutl birthday package from last year, but I looked at the lineup and I was like, I don't know I can do that. It was tough. Too many freeze-dried beers, and those are not. I don't know why they keep doing them. Those it's not that great. But yeah, so we'll wrap it up here. You can find us online at what'sontappodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts, you can find us. So until next time,
keep drinking, you dum-dums.